Shalom Chaverim וברוכים הבאים to Pninei Torah, or Pearls of Torah. Now, today is a special Pninei Torah. I call it Pninei Torah Unplugged because of my travel schedule. I was unable to get into the studio this week, but I always try to bring you a brief word about the Parashat Shavua. So I improvised just a little bit here today just to give you a brief word from the Parashat Shavua. And this week, I want to look very quickly, and I invite you, all of you in Houston area, come to Houston to hear a full teaching on the Torah portion. But I wanted to talk for just literally 5 minutes. It's going to be a very brief Pninei Torah on Parashat Massei. That started with word Ele Massei Bnei Israel. Now the question becomes, why God tell us about the journey of Israel? What, we don't know about the journey of Israel? And we know that every word in the Torah, every jot and tittle is important. Why it says the word Massei are journeys or stages? These are the stages of the children of Israel in the beginning of Numbers 33 verse 1. We know it's important, but why God is telling us this again? I want to take a stab perhaps on a different type of Pninei Torah for a moment, and to explain to you why I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that the land of Israel belonged to the Jewish people, okay? Because the Bible tells me so, and this Torah portion actually addresses something very deep and very important. I want to touch on it for just a minute with you. The reason, first of all, the Midrash teaches us that God says, Ve'ele Massei, you want to remind Israel where they have been, their spiritual condition as part of their healing. Listen to this from the Midrash in Numbers Rabbah 23:3. It says this: it is like a case of a king whose son was ill. The word Ele Massei. It's a story of a king who the son is ill. He took him to a certain place to cure him. On their return journey, his father began to recount all of the Massei, all of the staging, saying, here you slept, here you cooled yourself, here you have a headache. So the Holy One, blessed be He, said to Moshe, recount to them all the pleasant that they provoked me. Notice those are places that provoke me. Consequently, it says these are the stages. In essence, God reminded the children of Israel all of those places because He's reminding the step for their healing. You see, God brings sometimes rebuke to our life and calamities to our lives, not because He's angry in us, not because He's hating us, not because He just is mad on us. He brings them as steps in the healing, okay? And God is reminding them here of the steps on their healing, just as He's doing it as a father who loved the son. And who is the son? The son obviously here is Israel. So don't get mad at God when calamities come, because sometimes He brings those calamities in order for us to be healed. But here's a very important part. The Midrash continues and says there is another exposition on the text, and these are the stages. Here the account of those places. And it says, the Midrash says, and I quote, it says, why were all those stations privileged to be recorded in the Torah? Here you go, the answer. In return for them having received Israel, the Holy One, blessed be He, will in the future give them the reward. As it is written, the wilderness and the parched land shall be glad, and the desert shall rejoice. That is quoting actually from Isaiah chapter 35 verse 1. In essence, he says that He is preparing Israel in the wilderness. We call it chinuch. He educating the Jewish people. He's training them and He's equipping them that when they finally will reach their destination, it will not just be benefit to all humanity. It's not going to be benefit only to the Jewish people. It will even be a benefit to the desert itself. Okay, and it's important because the rest of the verse says, and blossom as the rose, it shall blossom abundantly and rejoice. Now, if the wilderness will be the rewarded for having received Israel, It is for certain that the one who receives scholars into the house will be rewarded, all even more. You find that the wilderness is destined to become an inhabited territory. And while inhabited territory is destined to become a wilderness. What the Midrash teaching us? The Midrash teaching us that Israel is going through a preparation world and phase, and this preparation phase might be appearing like it's dry and desolate. And some of you maybe today in a season in your life, you are dry and desolate. Well, to just know that if you go through a period of dryness and desolation, it's not because God is mad at you, is angry at you, it's because God is preparing you, just as preparing Israel. And here is how Israel will know that they are ready. It says that the wilderness, the desert, according to Isaiah 35, the Midrash connecting the Torah portion, Numbers 33 to Isaiah 35, Israel will make the desert blossoms, okay? As it says, and it says, I will make, it's also in Isaiah, it says, I will make the wilderness a pool of water. You find that at the present there are no trees in the wilderness, but in the future, it's talking about the future Geula, the future redemption. But in the future there will be, as it says, I will plant in the wilderness a cedar, acacia wood trees, and myrtle, and the oil trees. But in the future there will be a road, as it says, I will even make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the deserts. And it says, a highway shall be there and a way, and it shall be called the way of Kedusha, way of holiness. The unclean shall not pass over it, but it shall be for those by wayfaring man, ye fool, shall not hear therein. What does it say? It says this is the verse that Yochanan HaMatbil, John the Baptist, quoted from Isaiah. He said, make a way, make a way. And how do you make a way? By sanctifying yourself. Friends, we're in the weeks now from 17th of Tammuz to 9th and Av, the destruction of the temple, that we are reminded to be holy, to become holy. Why we are to become holy? For one reason, friends. So we will become this vessel in the wilderness that will be able to contain the worthiness, to contain the living water. Okay? It is not just an issue of us receiving the living water. Sometimes we say, are you saved? Are we saved? Are we ready? Yes or no? The message is not a message of salvation. It's never been the message of salvation, friend. The message that you need to take with you today in this Torah portion is this message. Are you ready to contain the living water? Are you ready to take upon yourself the living water and to receive the living water? I pray that the answer for all of us is yes, and the only way to do it is through the Kedusha. So God is taking them through all those stations because He said, I'm preparing you for the future to reward. Yeshua said, to store up our treasures in heaven, friend. It is time for all of us to take this message. That is the message of the kingdom. It's not the message for today. It is not the message, are you saved now? It's not for right this second. It's the message for the kingdom, for the future. Are you yourself like this pool of water that is prepared to receive, to soak up this water, friends? It's a very simple pearls of Torah, but the Midrash here is so clear. It says, the wilderness and the parched land shall be glad, and the desert shall rejoice and blossom as the rose. Friends, speak upon yourself today the word of blossoming. Even if you're in dry land today, know that God is not intended for you to remain in dry land. But we are looking, as Paul says, we're not looking for the city that is built now, but we are looking for the city to come. May this be a season, friends, that you prepare this vessel. You are the vessel. You are the Mikdash to receive this. And how do you know when you're worthy? You will know when you're worthy, when things will blossom. The desert, the Negev, is blossoming today. Therefore, we know the land belongs to the Jewish people and belongs to Israel. And you notice something, just drive in Israel, on road number 6, and look on one side, you always see fire and smoke and ugliness. Why is it? It is because the Palestinians are not worthy of the lands, friend. Look over the Jewish people's side, what do you see? Greenery and beauty even in the Negev. Why? Because the prophecy of the Acharit Hayamim is coming to an end in our season right now. That is the Torah portion, friends, on one foot. If you're blessed by this, I apologize for the poor quality of this broadcast, but if you're blessed, please consider supporting this broadcast. God bless you. Shabbat Shalom. Litraot here from Houston. Bye-bye.